Hey guys, Logan Johnson here from Team Kingslayer Cards. I got second place in AOBRO with Megacolony, my favorite clan in the game. Started playing premium with the clan, played a shit Giraffe deck, but we got there in the end. Um, I played in two of the regions. I played in AO and I played in an A. My plan was to sleep through EU so I could play through NA comfortably, but my body decided, let's just stay up. So I was on 0 hours of sleep for like 2 days. Unfortunately, couldn't pull out NA. I got 16th in NA. I went X2. Um, I'll probably talk about those rounds as well in this video because this is going to be a pretty um, heavy video in terms of matchups and talking about the deck and my rounds. So it's going to be a long one. Be ready if you guys just want to watch throughout the video. I'm sure Richard will put timestamps or whoever's editing this. But yeah, so we're going to get into it, guys. All right, guys. So one card is different in here currently, just art style wise. It's this Dark Face. I played with 3 commons during the event, but I like to reward my decks after they top with me, so I got him one nice shiny Batman Dark Face. So um, I will tell you about my rounds after I go over the whole deck, um, in both NA and AO. Then I'll do some shoutouts later at the end of the video for people who mean a lot to me. First, we're going to start with V-Starter. V-Starters are obviously very good. Draw you a card, get your Quick Shield going second. Also lets you get plus like 3 going second because of the Messiah ticket. Um, so, very good. Play your V-Starters. Megacolony doesn't really have any good, just like grade zeros anyways, so there's no reason to not run the V-Starter. I'm going to set this here and grab from here. This will be the easiest. Um, so next, I only play 3 G Darkface. Um, this is the perfect ratio in terms of seeing it. I only bricked, I think, 1 game I didn't see it, and it was my round 2 in AO. It was my 1 loss in AO Swiss, because if I did see it, I would have probably won that game. But it is what it is. If you wanted to, I'll tell you if you wanted to play a fourth, what we'll cut, because there is 1 card I wanted to change from this list. But 3 felt very good. Never felt like I needed more, never felt like I needed less. Next, we play 2 G-Gridora. This card is crucial to the deck. It literally locks out half the force decks in the game um, from like being able to apply pressure. Um, Sorry if I sound off, by the way, guys. I've been very sick. That's why this video is so late. I was literally dying through bro, but I was down in cough medicine, down in cough syrup, downing all that stuff. Um, so yeah, but G-Gridora, very crucial. Counter charge for a Soul Blast and forcing your opponent to counter blast is super busted. Also being able to lock columns really screws with force decks when they start stacking all their forces on one side and you just say, all right, counter blast on stride, lock that column out of existence for the next turn. It gives you a lot of like pressure taken off of you. Next we play 2 Hell Demise. This is the restander. I'm sure you see this in like every Megacolony deck. On plays, rest one of your opponent's rear guards. You may stand one of your rear guards. It is not required to rest one of theirs to stand one of yours. And then he has an effect where units in the back row can't stand during the stand phase that he's in. But that doesn't really matter because they're going to be under Gridora Stride anyways. This is the 1 card that never really came up to me. My friend Peter Van Allen like convinced me on this card. Like he was like he keeps telling me it's like winning him games and doing a lot for him, and I was like, screw it, we'll try it, see if it matters for me. And this literally came up a whopping 1 time in like the 14, 15 rounds I played. Um, and it didn't even matter because it was already a really good matchup for me. It was against a Grand Blue player. He like got like 4 protects in hand, so I just said no to them. So Antlion says Soul Blast a grade 3 on attack, Vanguard Rearguard Circle, and discard 2 cards. So it's super heavy, cost wise, and he gets 10k and a crit till end of battle, and they cannot Sentinel him. So it's good against protect like mirrors, but aside from that, I don't really have a purpose for this card. And the only like plus side is in the Mega Mirror. He's a rideable grade 3 that gives you a protect. Um, if you wanted to, you could cut this for a 4th Dark Face just to see it. This card is it's okay. It has purpose. I just think the cost is too steep. Megacolony doesn't really get finishers, so this is like our best. Um, Next we play 4 Sweet Cocktail. Hand trap of the deck. One of them at least. Giving your board power for like punishing your opponent for not retiring units. And drawing a card is really solid. So she replaces herself and she gives you half a trigger on defense. Um, on offense, she's more likely to activate because this is a when put on Guardian Circle or when attacking skill. You can Soul Blast one. Your opponent chooses one of their standing rear guards. If they do not retire it, you get your front row, your entire front row gets 5k, and you draw a card. So she can be a 14k beat stick by herself, um, which is really good. So that's definitely solid. Oh god, I have to cough, but I don't want to cough for you guys. Um, this card is busted. Play it at 4. Next is the tech of the deck, at least for me, and it is a standard promo, Candelaria. Um, she is a 10k base overdress card that says at the end of the turn she dies and you. It's a May, so it's a cost. She retires herself, and you can make 2 plant tokens. So why are you playing this card, Logan? This card sounds like trash. You're not Neonectar. This card single-handedly tells Chaos to shove it. Um, you get a 5 attack turn on Gridora, and you have this. At the end of the turn, you retire, call over your Hell Demise and her. Well, she won't be there, but call the tokens to your front row. They cannot lock your front row unless they super overextend. Because when they lock the tokens fizzle out of existence, and then you have your 2 open front row slots. So the only way they are able to lock your front row is if they zirconium you, and your entire back row is already locked. That is the only way, or like cold death. Cold death is basically zirconium. Um, but it costs them so much extra resource to do it that it tends to win you the trade, um, favor wise. Also, this activates so like if you have a turn where they did lock everything, but this was one of the cards they locked. When this unlocks, you can then choose the effect to sack itself, make the tokens if they don't kill it. So if they don't kill it, they single-handedly ruin their game plan again. Seeing this card 4 turns in a row literally wins you the match. Um, at least in my playtesting. I never played against Chaos in the event, but I had a friend, Kinzio Raphael, I think is his last name. Um, Me and him met during the tournament, but we're both mutual friends of Peter, so it was really funny when we paired into each other because we knew about each other. But he was on a similar list I was on, where he played Chaos in top 8 for EU. He played against it with Megacolony, and he regretted not seeing this every single turn. Next is my MVP of the deck, Battler S. This card is so busted, and people don't expect it, or like they don't play around it very often unless it's a high level player. Um, this card I think won me like 3 to 4 games minimum during my rounds. Battler S says when called Soul Blast 1, your opponent calls a card from their hand stunned and they draw a card. Um, Sounds pretty mediocre, right? Um, but this actually lets you win through a mill out. Um, you also have the very like useful skill it has in drop zone of when it's in the drop zone, if your opponent has no stood units, you can discard a card, call it from the drop zone, and soul charge. Um, You have to call it to an open rearguard circle. That's very important. Um, but uh, card is busted, and it won me so many games. Um, this card definitely needs some more respect. You don't really need more than three, because once they're in the drop, you basically have them. You kind of have like the Pale Moon slash Grand Blue thing, where once you see them in the drop zone, slash whatever area you need to see them, you have them. So I almost won AO with this card. I was unfortunately one card short of getting the win um, to mill him out, but it'd be what it be. Next, I play uh, 4 high class moth. Most decks play 3, but as I've gone on, I used to play 3. I'm now at the point where I want to play 4 because it is very crucial to my game plan. Um, and it doesn't hurt using the effect to put from Malagnatus to put it in the soul. Because if you look at it one way, it's basically a free Malagnatus activation every single turn. But it's also recycle. So Moth says counter charge or rest itself hard once per turn. Rest itself. Choose a normal unit on the bottom of your deck. If or on the bottom of your deck in your drop zone, put it on the bottom of your deck. And if you do, you can counter charge 1. Hard once per turn, cannot use multiple other copies through the turn. Um, and you also choose something and it can't intercept from your opponent's board. This card does like half of what Megacolony wants all in one. Um, so it's beyond busted. It's also regarded as a grade 3 in deck or soul. So your grade 3 searchers can add this. Gradora can call this. It's a grade 3 in soul for Antlion. That actually like kind of matters. Um, this card is busted. 3 is fine, but 4 feels really comfortable. Next, we have 4 Brilliant Blister. I do not play the G1. There's no decks that I'm really scared of that are restanding. Aside from DP, but like I'm not gonna tech one card to beat DP when that matchup's already unfavored for me. This card is a hand trap, free booster, draw engine. Like this card busted. On rearguard circle, if it's in the back row at the end of the turn, if your opponent has no stood rearguards, it can come back to your hand. And then if you have 6 or less when you do that effect, you can Soul Blast 1 to draw. That effect is way rarer than the actual effect of bouncing it. But like every turn, you can just commit like 2 of these on sides and have like 2 other rearguards here. And then you just swing, 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 do your turn. And then in the turn, oh, these come back. So they know you have hand traps in your hand. The hand trap part about this card is if your opponent's Vanguard is rested, when you put this card on Guardian Circle, you can Soul Blast 1, discard a card, and choose one of your opponent's rearguards, rest it. It cannot stand no matter what till the end of the turn. So they can check 3 stand triggers, and that card is not standing. Like, um, it's really good. Shuts out certain decks like line of play. Like Steam Maidens cry if you have 2 of those. When they do their Shlishma turn, before you like Gridora them out of it. If you have 2 of these, you can just lock them out of the game like that turn and kind of end it. Card's broken. Please play 4 at minimum 3. I'm gonna get into the rest of the grade ones now. I play 3 V Little Dorcas. This is the grade 3 searcher, and 1 G Little Dorcas. Um, the busted part of G Little Dorcas and Megacolony is it searches for cards with Darkface in its name, with which Gridora does have in her name. She's Darkface Empress Governor, Evil Governor Gridora. So this card is a tutor for Gridora or Darkface, which is very, very good. And it also pays for Stride later in the game. And then this is a 13k beat stick, like almost always. It gets 5k if your opponent has no stood units, so like it almost always is a 13k beat stick, which is just super good. And top 5, look for a grade 3. Get Moth, get Darkface, get Gridora. It's so busted, guys. Definitely came up. I like the 3-1 split very, very good in my opinion. And then the other two grade ones, I play one Hanali. Um, Now you may ask why even play this, or like why are we not playing more? Because we're a control deck. Gridoric in herself is kind of a pseudo Hanali, because she's stunning your opponent's cards until like the end of their next turn. So those cards aren't standing unless they're like playing innate cards to counter that, um, like Lambros and Favas. Um, so this card only really comes up against a couple of decks, like Gold Paladin mainly. Gold Paladin, Narukami, because they can call a new board every turn because they draw so many cards. Um, but yeah, that's like mainly it. Gold Paladin, Narukami, Nova Grappler. Those are like the main three. Good card. It's a good one of. If you wanted to change it, I could understand, but I like this card. And then we're playing one Sanctitude. Sanctitude's broken. It's a free PG and premium, like all the time. Matters against DP. Gets around guard restrict for Linko. Next, we're gonna go into the triggers. So we play 3 grade 3 heals and 1 grade 0 countercharge soul charge heal. This actually matters because Megacolony's resources are the best part of the deck. It has like so much resource management in the clan. Um, and it like this never punishes you unless you're in the Gridora mirror and you can't ride, but that's about it. But being able to countercharge is essentially another Malagnatus, so you can look at it as another push for the next turn. Soul Charge, which is very important. Soul is the luxury in the deck, as you probably heard me throughout most of the deck profile. Half of the cards in the deck take Soul, which is another reason why Battler S is so busted, because it's a Soul Charge. You don't have to use the effect on place, but it's Soul Charge. Um, sorry guys, my voice is trying. um, Definitely very good. Um, as a one of. If you wanted to play 4 grade 3 heals, that's fine too. Then we have 3 draw PGs. Um, you want to draw cards, PGs are good. That's about all there is to it. Then we're getting into the crits. I play 4 stride crits and 4 dark face crits. These are the defensive damage draws. This card's broken in Megacolony. Because no matter what like your main deck is, you could be playing Flagberg Premium, um, or like Magnolia Premium or something. Um, Darkface Gridora is the stride name. This card just needs your Vanguard to have a Darkface in its name. So this will like always work in Megacolony. Um, and it's a defensive draw. It's also a crit. Like there's not much more you can want this card to do. This card does everything for you. Goes to soul, draws cards, is a crit trigger, gives you pressure. Like that card's busted. And then for the over trigger, I play the Bless Flavor. Oh my god, Bless Favor. If you wanted to play the blue or the red one, I understand. I think this card being a heal, a crit, a draw, and a front is busted. Um, it always like hurts your opponent whenever you heal in Mega Colony because getting damage in Megas like the later in the game is really hard to do. Mega Colony's weakness is like the early game isn't exactly like scary, but like it has a good grade 2 game. If you're playing more towards it, this list is not because we got those Dark Face Superior Ride. Um, but heal, crit, pressure is really busted. If you wanted to play one other OT, I would recommend the blue one. Just picking up resources. It's also another crit. So crits matter because it's hard to finish in this deck. So every crit counts. That's the main deck. We're gonna get into the G zone. Um, Obviously, we're gonna play 4 Gridora. Uh, Card's busted. Should it be hit? Probably. Do I want it to be hit? No, but yes. Um, Card's really good. It is the clan, to be honest. Which is really sad. That are like our other strides are just kind of whatever compared to her because this card is offense, defense. It does everything. Um, so in case you don't know what Gridora does, she says Counterblast 1 act. Turn up a card in the G zone, any card. Um, I've seen a lot of people say to fix this card, just make it a Persona flip, which I don't disagree with, especially because of the next shred we're going to talk about. Counterblast 1, turn up a card in the G zone. Until the end of your opponent's next turn, their units do not stand during the stand phase, and they cannot superior call other than from hand, which means no G guarding, no calling from drop or deck or soul. Um, and if they want to have a Vanguard next turn, they have to rewrite a grade 3. Um, and if they don't, they just lose 90% of the time. Because when you stride, you don't stand your Vanguard. So, it's not like delete. Um, and then, as if that wasn't good enough, she says on attack, Soul Blast 1, call a grade 3 from your deck, it gets plus 10k, which is going to be more often than not, you're calling Hell Demise to get 5 attacks. This card does so much of everything, and it's just so good. People want this card gone, and I understand why, but I'm just worried for Megacolony if this card gets completely banned. Um, Limiting it to 1 is an option. Making it a Persona flip is an option. You could choice restrict it with the next stride because I think this next stride is like the real power, like combined of these two is the issue. Malignatus. This card is the premium collection stride we got like last year. It says Vanguard Circle or G Zone. The cost changes if it's on Vanguard Circle or G Zone. If it's in the G Zone, the effect takes a counterblast. If it's on your Vanguard, it turns a card face up. You put a rear guard to Soul. So optimally, this is in the G Zone off of this because you're going to counterblast, flip this up. Counterblast 1, put a rear guard from your board into your Soul. Choose one of your opponent's standing rear guards, retire it. If you did, countercharge draw. If you didn't, your opponent's Vanguard gets minus 10k till end of turn. And that's the problem with this card. Megacolony sort of has like the Nubutama thing where your rear guards themselves are not scary. Most of Megacolony's rear guards are just 12 to 13 at most. This basically giving your front row a trigger for the turn is busted. This card is an issue in my opinion with her. So either like you could choice restrict them or just make her a Persona flip, and I think they'd be fine. Yeah, this card's busted. It's not once per turn, like hard once per turn. So like if you have 2 of them face up in the G zone, you can do it twice. Also gives you soul, which is busted because like I said earlier, the deck's problem is soul. So next we have the Jaggy Devils. These are your superior strides for Dark Face. The on hit isn't really anything major. It's just it stuns a back row and a front row unit. That's about it. But you get the protects, you get the triple drive, you get the GB. It's nice. You want it because your grade 3 turns kind of nothing if you don't do this, if you're going first. So next we play 1 Overwhelm. This card is really good. Still, it never gets love because of her and Malignatus, but this card is like actually busted on paper, just not as good in practice. So you counterblast 1, turn a card face up. You draw a card for each of your opponent's rested rear guards, so that's really good against like cell decks for the most part. And then if they had 1 or less, she gets crit and a drive. So you get to do this against Chaos Breaker. This is like unironically a good stride against Chaos Breaker. Because Chaos Breaker tends to have their first turn be like a Freeze Ray on their Vanguard Circle and like a Zirconium to start their lock game plan. So you get all the benefits of this. You get 1 draw and you get 10k and a crit, and you really pressure your opponent because they're like, oh, I'll just eat a damage and lock their other side. Well, if you call 2 rearguards in this and you swing this first, this is 2 crit that if they want to lock these cards, they have to eat, which pressures them immensely. It's also quad drive. So more chances to just win off of crit. Um, and then for GB3, Dark Device. Dark Device is active whenever all of your opponent's cards in the same column as this unit are rested. Um, Dark Device GB3. All of your units get 2k per your opponent's cards face down in the damage zone. So it's not bad. It's a good board buff. If you do go this later than like first or second stride, um, which I mean it happens. I play it because it actually matters. It does come up. So definitely play one of those, please, guys. Don't sleep on this card. It's how you win the Chaos Breaker matchup. Next we have Obtyrandus. This card's a little steeper, but can be way more powerful than Gridora in certain aspects. This is a GB2 CB2 discard a card axe skill that says your opponent cannot call to rearguard period next turn. I would have won a game in NA if I had one more CB to go into this guy, and I'll talk about it later with you guys. Um, but basically, like if your opponent clears their board, you just go this and you just win because you give them a turn next turn of a Vanguard only, and that is it. It takes so much pressure off of you. Definitely worth the one of I would recommend. Then next is your GB8 Tyrantus. Tyrantus is a very, very strong finisher in this deck. Once you run out of Gridoras, he is your win button. Um, he says GB8, all of your units get 5k per opponent's rested rearguard and vanguard. So if you're against a normal deck and they have a whole board and it's all rested, that's plus 30k to everything, not just your front row, everything. So like if they have a whole board, you have like 70k columns. And all of your opponent's auto abilities on Vanguard and Rearguard are turned off and they cannot intercept. So this card is your finisher. You say, I'm out of Gridoras. It's time to end this. Boom. Um, very, 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 very good finisher. I used to not play it for a while, but as it's getting more of a control-y sort of format right now, this card definitely matters in the mirror match. So play it. Then we have Harmonics. You guys know the deal with Harmonics. If you went second, get them Harmonics Shield by revealing this. Um, then if this card's face up in your G zone at the start of your turn, you can ping yourself if you didn't take a damage and you're at 2 or less, draw a card. So it gives you counterblast if you're getting damage denied. It's a stride against Link Joker. It's not really worth it in my opinion, but it is there. Then next we have G guards. My G guards are a little small if you guys can't tell. I have 4. I played 2 Cruel Weeble. This is your best G guard in my opinion. It's Soul Blast 1. Your opponent, this gets 30k shield. It can lose 10k for every rearguard your opponent rests. So you give them the choice of resting cards, but this is a 45k shield flat if they don't rest anything, which puts your 11k Vanguard to 56, which is massive. For only 1 soul, this card's definitely busted. This is definitely the best G guard the clan has, and there's no like thoughts about that. Then we play one more Physion. She's like the free discount version of this. She says if your opponent has 2 or less stood units when you go into her, she gets 10k shield. So she's a 25k shield for free. She doesn't have to pay a cost. Just nice to not have to pay cost for her. And then I play one Relish Lady. This card is a lot better on paper than it is in practice. This card you can only go into this card when your opponent's Vanguard attacks your Vanguard, specifically. You can G-Guard, GB1, turn G-Guard face up. Your opponent may rest 2 rear guards. If they do not, you draw Soul Charge, Counter Charge. This does not get any shield. It is just a resource button. She matters sometimes, but she is very rarely like a busted card. She's kind of just like a, I need resources now. Or I need to dig for this PG to maybe like guard this attack entirely. So she's kind of just like a, oh, I need resources button, which is good in its own right. Now, that is the G zone. As you guys see, I don't play Gristfort. That card sucks in my opinion. It has like in the like 2 years, 3 years I've been playing this clan, that card has like never come up, literally ever. It can matter against Gurgit on the Ultima turn, but that is about it. Um, so yeah. That's the deck profile. Um, Now I'll go into more details about what I played in my run. All right, guys. So um, in AO, round one, I played against a Anj Tirowa deck. Um, the game was kind of just average. He got his Vanguard really big off of a Chocho. He made his Vanguard like 81k or something like that while I was at 3. So I had to PG the first one and just kind of like go from there. So I PG'd the first one and then he hit crit heal, I think. So I was like, oh, I can't really do anything about that. So at least I PG'd it. Um, Restanding Vanguards, Megacolony hates that. Um, Round two, I played against Narukami. Um, I did lose that game. That is the game I did not see my superior stride, Darkface. If I did, I think I won that game because I had him at 5, and that's after he healed twice. Um, but it is what it is. It just kind of be that way. Narukami is also a pretty bad matchup in my opinion. Um, Round 3, I played against the Megacolony Mirror. Um, that's going to be something I say a lot, by the way, throughout these rounds. I played against the Mega Mirror, and I'm gonna be honest, I don't remember much of those games, the Mega Colony mirrors, because I had so many of them. I played against 5, I think, um, but I didn't drop any of them. So number one Megas right here, minus like Peter Van Allen. um, so the way in that matchup, I think you get more of an advantage is if you go first. Um, you don't get the Gridora first, but you get protect markers, which make your opponent's Vanguard way less threatening. Which is kind of like all the mirror is. It's a back and forth of vanguards threatening each other, and then you have like 1 to 2 rear guards attacking. Normally just 1, 2 if you're on the offensive. Um, the matchup is slow. Um, I can promise you, I went through like all 4 Gridoras in like at least 4 of those games of the mirrors. Um, and my opponents weren't playing Tyrantus, and I was. So I went Tyrantus, um, and they just could not guard. Um, and then I also milled a couple of them out. So um, I played against the actual like Darkface Gridora mirror, by the way, because there were some Gunning Colio players in AO, and I did pair against one. Um, Round 4, I paired against Grand Blue. That is a heavily favored matchup for us. Um, they can't call from their drop zones, so their best way to win is Bad Bounty into Skull Dragon, and that's kind of it. Um, he was the one matchup that Antlion like kind of mattered because he had like 5 PGs in hand because rewriting gets you protects. Um, but it be what it be. But I did win that game. There's just not much he can do, and he's like, yeah, that matchup just kind of sucks. Um, Round 5, I played against Kinzio in AO. So shout out to him. Um, we literally paired into each other and we're like, "Are you Peter's friend?" And we're like, "Yeah." So that matchup was super fun, and now I'm like actively talking to Kenzio, so that's cool. I'm glad I made that relationship through him throughout, bro. Um, the matchup in the mirror was Kenzio is new on bugs for the most part. Um, he doesn't know how the mirror match goes, so I kind of helped him through that after. Um, but like I said earlier, I think the mirror is go first, get your advantage by getting their protect markers. And I did mill him out with Battler S. He was one of the victims of Battler S. It's kind of a joke between us now because I've done it so many times, and I'll tell him when I've done it to someone. Um, Battler S is a threat. Don't sleep on Battler S. Um, That was a good match. I won it, so I'm X1 at this point. There's 7 rounds of Swiss, so I'm like I gotta win 2 more. Round five, or round six, I go against Mega Mirror again. This one is gunning Colio, so I'm a little like relaxed against this. Not that gunning Colio isn't like a viable strategy. It's more of gunning Colio into normal Megacolony does like almost nothing. Um, because their plan to all their cards that like make you mill are superior calls. So like you wanting to call Dova Speed from deck from Gridora to mill, you're wanting to call Battler S from the drop to make them draw and stun and draw. They can't do that against Gridora, so their strategy doesn't really work. Um, he did not see a reride or stride one turn, and after that it's lights out in the Gridora mirror. Typically. Um, round 7, I played against a Fenrir player. I played against the same Fenrir player in Top Cut. Um, round 7 wasn't really close. He kind of had a bad hand, and he had to say crit to win on my Vanguard, and I hit the crit, so I won. Um, his list was interesting because I actually enjoy Fenrir. I own Fenrir. Um, but it's weird. He never strode against me like ever in Top Cut, and I don't really know why. I don't know if he was saving grade 3s or what. But it did bite him in the ass when he wanted to Dreaming Dragon and he had no GB. So X1 in bro, that was last round. I'm guaranteed top. Uh, when pairings first got released, I got second, but then a DQ happened. The first place guy got DQ'd for a deck log, and I got first. So we take those. First place through Swiss, um, which made John, the Fenrir player I played against, actually squeeze into top 8 because there were like 3 deck log errors for AO or something like that. Um, Shout out to Cardweeb, Charlie. Me and him talk a lot. We're good buddies. He got ninth playing Tyranno Legend Gaia. I'm sure you guys have seen that list. It's kind of popular because it's the oddball out. Um, so we were like, if somebody doesn't wake up for AO, you're in. But he'll play me because it's seeded 1 through 8. Um, I really wish he got top cut. Charlie's my boy, as you guys know, or you guys might know. I also play Tachi's. It's like my second or probably my second favorite clan. Um, so love Charlie. He's my boy. I wish he topped. It would have been so cool to play him in top cut. So then going into NA because top cut would be the next day for BRO. Um, Round 1, I played against Overlord in NA. I won that matchup. Overlord's kind of a meme. I'm gonna be honest, guys. Don't play Overlord. That deck's bad. Um, Round 2, I played against. Oh, now I have to think. What did I play against? I think it was another Mega Mirror. Yes, it was. It was a Mega Mirror. Um, I won it again. I think I won this one through Battler S as well. Um, Kind of the same thing as the other Mega games go. There's not anything that really sticks out about them. It's just kind of back and forth Gridoras. Win the grind game. Make sure you have rerides. Round 3, I played against Highlander. This is my X1 when I go X1. The Highlander player saw the Pearl Sisters early, and that'll do it. He did top NA. It's something Moon Joey, I think was his name. Um, so he did top, and our game was like we talked back and forth. It was pretty interesting. I was 1 card away from winning. I had the 6 damage like heal like OT to live, and my top card after I took the 6 damage was the OT, and I was like, bro, if I hit that, I won. Because he would have decked out due to Battler S. So it's unfortunate, but it be what it be. Then round 4, I played against Pale Moon. I won that. Pale Moon's a pretty shit matchup. Like for them, for us, it's pretty free. They can't call from soul. They get like one turn. It was Hari. Hari gets like the 1 XL, the 2 XL turns. That's about it. After that, they have to hope and pray Dark Lord does something with drive checks. He did push me to 5 because he hit crit OT. But after the first like turn of push and Gradora's live, it's kind of done from there. Then next round I played, it's the Mega Mirror. I won this one again. This was the only opponent who I like didn't enjoy playing with. He was just kind of stale. He like didn't really talk. He didn't say anything. If I like made small talk, he would just kind of ignore me, and I was like, okay. It'd be what it be. Some people just aren't in good moods, and it happens. Um, but I won. Um, round 6, I played against Gold Paladin. Um, I had to live an Ultima turn, so this is where the Ob Tyrandus came up. He cleared his entire board using Aglio, it's the grade 2. Put something to soul, bounce it. Um, and I didn't see my moth. I had 3 moths still in my like 17 card deck, and I didn't see it off of like the top 6. And it was very unfortunate because if I did, I could use Obturandus skill and literally just lock him out of the game. Because he was at 4. Um, so if I got the Obtyrannus, I want to say I won that game. Um, Obviously, we don't know, but I think I could have closed it out. Also, Hanali didn't show up, the one of Hanali. He never showed up either, so that blows. But it'd be what it be. Then, so I'm X2. I'm like, okay, I can still top. The Gold Paladin player I lost to was also pretty high up in rankings, so I was like, okay, if he wins next round, I should be chilling. Because the Highlander player was also like top 8 at this point in time. So I'm like, maybe I can squeeze in. And then round 7, I played the Mega Mirror again. It was against the guy I played round 3 in AO. Um, that game was really weird. We ran out of Gradoras like super quickly because we didn't have rerides, so we just kind of Gradora to Gradora. Um, and then we like sat on like Darkface and grade 3 Gradora for like 4 turns. The judges were like, "This is the weirdest game of Gridora I've ever seen happen." The game was funny. I Battler asked him to win. He decked out. Um, but yeah, it was pretty interesting. So I'm X2, and pairings get announced, or like not pairings. It was only 7 rounds again. Standings get announced, and I got 16th. So that kind of blows because the Gold Paladin player lost, so he was X2. So I was like, oh yeah, there it goes right there. Um, So immediately after NA finished, I had to play an AO, like immediately after. Um, so top 8, I play against Fenrir on stream for the BRO. I made a large mistake turn. The Fenrir player had a really bad glare for his like right side of the board, and I could not tell if cards were there. And it kind of screws Megacolony if there are standing cards back there when I want to use effects that need all of his cards rested. So I almost lost um, because of that. Because I played a whole turn around him not having any stood units, and I was going to deck him out with Battler S, but then he had like 2 stood units, and I couldn't see them because they were glared. And I was like, oh, that matters. Um, So the judge gave me a warning, and because I used Battler S from drop, but I can't do that because he has stood units, and I already soul charged. So the judge was like, "You returned soul charge, shuffle, gave you a warning." I was like, "I understand, sorry. It's really hard to see that card," and the judges were like, "No, we understand." Um, uh, I did deck him out using Battler S the following turn. It got really close, because he Dreaming Dragoned, but he didn't Dreaming Dragon. He called Dreaming Dragon and then passed. And when he attempted to shuffle it in, I was like, no, you can't do that. You need a GB. He never strode against me. I don't know why. Um, I it confused me. Um, so he had like two cards in deck, and I was just like, okay, call Battler S from drop, stun, draw a card. Pass. um, if he didn't mess up that turn, I lost that game. Because he would Melissa me and mill me out for the rest of my deck. So that one was really close. Could have been played better by me, but that drop zone glare really did mess with me. Um, then proceeding into top four, I played the Riviere player. I sacked this man. I am so sorry to you. Um, he went first, didn't see the superior ride, so I'm already like chilling because my worry was he went first, he gets superior ride. I'm like, oh shit, I'm gonna be so far behind this game in terms of like actual like threat. Bermuda is already a pretty rough matchup because your stuff they stun it and they're just like, okay, bounce it, call it anyways, because it's calling from hand. So um, I went second. He whiffed superior ride into the grade two, so I'm like, all right, that takes some pressure off. Then I check first check OT, so he goes to three. I also called the rear guard to apply pressure, so he has to go to three because I deal two, and this is 100 mil. Um, Then he goes the next couple of turns guarding. He does his superior stride turn with Loris. I go to my turn. I stride Gridora, swing Gridora, call or not Mally, Hell Demise, go for the 5 attack turn. He no guards the Vanguard while at 3, and I hit crit heal while I was at 4, so I did heal. And he just died. I felt super bad after that game. I like profusely apologized to him. Um, but yeah, it be what it be. That's Vanguard. Um, then in top two, so finals, I played against Nubutama. That matchup's not quite favored for Ghidorah. I had to go first. I didn't want to go first. You want to go second against Nubutama because these tickets matter against Nubutama because they can't renay you if you're holding on to these tickets because they'll renay and you're just like, all right, call the tickets. Now you did nothing. I also had to G-assist for grade 2 that game. Um, I literally won if I didn't have to G-assist that game. Game went back and forth. It was super awkward. We are kind of playing like a weird deck game because he never had low cards in hand, literally ever. He had like a 15 card hand like the entire game. My first Gridora turn, he was at 2, had no CB, eats the first attack, it's over trigger, so he can't do anything next turn. But I lose like a whole turn of pressure, so it kind of like turned into a weird mill game to me, in my opinion. I'm like, my point to win isn't like damage anymore, but I want to threaten damage as like for him to guard so that he like loses more deck. Um, I ran out of Gridoras and he ran out of Renes and everything. Um, and I had like 5 cards in deck and he had 4. And I had 2 cards in hand and I couldn't do triple Battler S. Other words, I won the game. And it's super tragic. I was pretty upset about it, but I was just like, it is what it is. Um, it's just how cards landed. I didn't see grade 2, had to G-assist, part of the game. It just be that way. Um, so it did suck not winning because of a G-assist, but it happens, guys. So yeah, that is about it. Um, shout out to Team Kingslayer. Um, they were cheering me on the whole way throughout rounds. Um, shout out to Peter, um, Peter Van Allen. Peter Van Allen, he's phenomenal on bugs. He's phenomenal in general. Um, him and I talked throughout the whole day about matches. Um, shout out to Charlie Cardweeb. Me and him were talking back and forth while we were playing. Um, telling each other our records, everything like that. And then shout out to Kenzio, new homie, new goat. Um, but yeah, guys, that's gonna do it for me. Um, couldn't bring home the dub, but we got second, so we get 2 Chrono Jets, so we take those. Um, thank you guys so much for watching. I know this video is gonna be quite long, but I really appreciate it if you watch the whole thing. Um, if you didn't, oh well. But thank you guys so much for watching. Make sure you guys shop at Kingslayer Cards. Um, buy everything you need from them. Thank you guys again. Peace.